The man never expected that his fiancée had been deliberately avoiding him because she foresaw that at the graduation ceremony 6 or 7 days later, he would run away with the heroine from the original story, while Lisa herself would be disgraced. Although he had long known that she was a reincarnator, Jack still couldn't figure out why, because he had no feelings for the heroine. Instead, he was deeply devoted to Lisa, but whenever he asked the reason, she spoke in riddles, and he didn't want to ask the unrelated heroine. Yet he could sense that all of this was connected to the so-called daughter of fate mentioned not long ago, and the most likely answer lay in his identity as a prince. So he decided to ask his father whether there were any secrets in history related to the daughter of fate. Unexpectedly, his father had never heard of such a daughter of fate. Based on his understanding of his father, Jack knew he wasn't lying, and immediately felt relieved, because he could no longer live without Lisa. But his father was somewhat shocked upon hearing this, since it was he who had arranged this marriage, and as if recalling something, he suddenly asked Jack whether he was happy. When he received a positive answer, he seemed much more at ease, although it was a bit strange. Jack didn't think much of it, assuming his father simply approved of the marriage. Although the theory of the daughter of fate was ruled out, he knew Lisa wouldn't speak without reason. Remembering that she had mentioned she would be disgraced, he immediately connected it to the heroine. With only 6 or 7 days left until the graduation ceremony, he gathered his candidate retainers and asked whether the heroine had shown any unusual activity recently. The answers he received were surprisingly consistent. The heroine had often been inquiring about Lisa's family affairs, as if she were plotting something. This suddenly made Jack realize that Lisa's father seemed to be a villain in the original story, but in this life, due to her reincarnation, he hadn't taken that path, and although the heroine was also a reincarnator, her status limited the information she could access. Therefore, her recent actions were quite obvious. She was gathering evidence of Lisa's father's misdeeds to bring about his disgrace, and once he was tainted, his engagement with Lisa would be annulled. Given that, he decided to turn the tables by having his retainers deliberately provide misleading information and then lure her into the trap. After dealing with the heroine, the only thing that worried him was Lisa's attitude. In fact, after 6 or 7 years together, he could clearly feel that Lisa liked him too, but just to witness firsthand him and the heroine of the original story reaching a happy ending. She always avoided him, intentionally or unintentionally, and when he learned that Lisa would, at the graduation ceremony, wear a red or black dress befitting a villainous noblewoman, instead of the yellow or blue she liked, this made him even angrier, because the reason was simple. Once again, she was making way for him and the heroine. He urged her to abandon the so-called script, but it was useless again. She even gave him a book, recording the misdeeds she had committed over the years, most of which were diaries of her bullying the heroine, hoping he would reveal them at the graduation ceremony. But many of those incidents he had heard about from friends. These so-called records of misdeeds were actually cases where the heroine had provoked first. The one at fault was not Lisa. Normally, he would find these things amusing, but now he really couldn't feel happy, and even felt he didn't want to endure it anymore.